They're one of the oldest predators on Earth.
He's called the Big Demon.
Killing machines designed to tear prey apart.
And as it pulled me down again, it got the big chunk off my leg.
Once almost extinct in America, these beasts are now growing to unprecedented size.
They're at a size where humans can be considered potential prey.
They seem to be everywhere.
They are targeting mankind. With alarming frequency. Now, Monster Quest sets out to investigate the world's biggest killer crocodiles.
That's okay. Check that guy out.
My God.
Wow. Now that is a monster.
Witnesses around the world report seeing monsters. Are they real or imaginary? Science searches for answers. On Monster Quest. The Florida coast is a family vacation destination with pristine beaches, amusement parks, diverse wildlife, and something else. One of the oldest predators in history, killer crocodiles. The worldwide casualties are staggering. Between 1,000 and 2,000 people are killed or maimed each year by these giant monsters.
For one thing, it grows to a huge size, and human beings are prey items.
A swimming pair of jaws is what makes crocs such formidable predators.
They do have the potential to reach 20 feet or more.
Eyewitnesses report seeing monster-sized crocodiles. They range in size from 16 to 30 feet and weigh in excess of 2 to 3 tons. These carnivorous reptiles are dark in color, with a long set of sharp, serrated teeth inside a powerful jaw, which can generate up to 3,000 pounds of force. Human encounters are growing more and more frequent. In 2009, residents of Coral Gables, Florida, complained that crocodiles were invading their backyards and devouring their pets. Every year, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission responds to more than 100 frantic calls of crocodile close encounters.
Right here is the part where the tooth slid down.
It was a late summer day on Playa Hermosa in Costa Rica. 13-year-old Floridian Dakota Kilbride was surfing the break just off the beach. But instead of catching the perfect ride, something caught him.
I was paddling, duck dived that wave, and then the crocodile went around, and then it came up right behind me. It grabbed me, and then it tried to pull me down one time. And I looked forward, and I looked in the middle of my board, and I said, I'm not going underwater. And then it shook me side, side, side again to try and get me loose off the board, and then pulled me down again. And as it pulled me down again, it got the big chunk off my leg.
Dakota doesn't know how, but he managed to make it to shore. Two friends witnessed the attack.
He didn't scream, but I just knew something was wrong.
And basically, the next thing I know, Andrea is pretty much starting to run.
The teenager was bleeding profusely and needed immediate medical attention.
And then I just heard someone say, please don't let me die. And I looked up and it was Dakota. And I was like, oh my God, that's my friend's little boy.
The closest hospital was more than 3 hours away and the wound was massive. Somehow he survived the long trip and doctors fought to save his life and his leg. It took multiple surgeries to repair the damage, but Dakota will bear the scars and the haunting fears for the rest of his life.
Well, right here, this is the bite, part of the bite, right here. Right here is the part where the tooth slid down.
The creature behind the horrifying attack was a species known as the American crocodile. It is the only crocodile native to the United States, with a population concentrated along the southern tip of Florida. The species is known to grow to between 10 to 12 feet in length and weigh an average of 500 pounds. Recently, there has been an increase in reports of much larger crocodiles measuring over 15 feet and weighing more than 2 tons.
I've been a professional captain for over 30 years. I fish out of a 16-foot Generation 3 John boat, 48 inches on the bottom, 60 inches across the top, and I am not exaggerating. I know this crocodile is easily as long as that boat and certainly as wide across the back as that boat is at the bottom, 4 feet wide across.
In prehistoric times, a monster super croc roamed the earth and grew to sizes of up to 40 feet. But experts like University of Chicago paleontologist Paul Sereno says that such supersized crocodiles went extinct long ago and discounts speculation that these giants could return.
Today, crocs are a shadow probably of what their ultimate sizes were for most species because they've been decimated, most of them. And it really takes crocs a long time to reach their absolute maximum size. We probably 100 years ago, 150 years ago, would have had a better shot at knowing how big the biggest crocs could get than today.
Not all experts agree.
And once the animal reaches like 15 feet in length or more, they're at a size where humans can be considered potential prey.
Biologist Joe Wasilewski has studied the American crocodile for most of his life. He says the population is growing.
Back 20 years ago, there was very few animals, and they have exploded. At a power plant here in South Florida, there was 520 hatchlings in 1 year, last year alone. That is making significant differences in the population.
Croc encounters with man have increased as man has encroached on their habitat. While crocodiles are formidable predators, they are vulnerable to cold temperatures and to any disturbance in their habitat. And this means that in the warm, remote areas of Florida, crocs are able to make their comeback.
And there are interactions now with crocodiles and humans. In fact, they're inhabiting a golf course or two. They are inhabiting canals behind people's homes, several Dade County parks, which is in Miami, and they're pretty much expanding to whatever range that they could here. American crocodiles are potentially dangerous animals, of course, but there's never been an attack from an American crocodile on a human being in Florida, yet.
Florida is the only place in the world where alligators and crocodiles coexist. It is home to more than 1 million alligators. The crocodile population is much smaller, but witnesses often get them confused. Crocodiles are distinguished from alligators by their lighter color, narrower snout, and an exposed tooth on their lower jaw. Misidentification could be responsible for some reports, but any contact between humans and crocodiles is cause for concern.
I've worked enough with alligators and crocs. If there's ever a confrontation, of course I don't bet, but put your money on the croc. Really? Yeah. The croc, it's just amazing. They're faster. They're more athletic.
Wasilewski will lead the Monster Quest expedition to Florida's Everglades to prove the existence of crocodiles larger than the known maximum size of 13 feet. The team will launch the expedition from the southernmost tip of the Everglades National Park. It is the third largest wilderness area in the lower 48 states, covering over 1.5 million acres. Much of the area is subtropical mangrove forests, tidal creeks, and estuaries, a perfect breeding ground for poisonous snakes and large reptiles, and possibly a monster-sized crocodile. And it is here where witnesses report seeing a menacing 16-foot croc.
It provides the best habitat that you could think of for American crocodiles' natural history. They have shelter, they have food, they have varying degrees of salinity, which is necessary.
And it had been several years since I'd been to the Everglades, and I got to say, I was astounded at the number of crocodiles we saw right out of the gate.
Tony Gerard, a biologist who has made several excursions into the Everglades to study snakes and alligators, will join the team. He says the increase in sightings alone is proof that the population is growing.
I mean, we just put in the water, we're already seeing crocodiles.
That's 8-9 foot.
The team is equipped with a variety of cameras and a laser measuring device which they will use to confirm the size of any crocodiles they may see.
let's talk American crocodiles here, have the opportunity to live the best lives they could ever live, and they do have the opportunity to grow into huge sizes.
The crocs they've seen so far are within average size for the species.
The one on the right, that's the female. You see, she's what, about 8 feet, maybe 9 feet in length? Actually, that male's bigger than I thought. He's probably 12 or better. I mean, the heck of it.
The beast makes a sudden move.
Whoa.
It's mating season in the Everglades, and the dance has begun.
And he's calling her over right now. Now just watch the head come out. 45-degree angle. No, he's not ready. She is. See, look at there's the angle. She's just letting him know that she's ready to be courted.
Oh man, I'm stoked. You know, we've been here 15 minutes. We've seen 3 crocodiles, 12-footer. Let's find that big one now.
Let's go. You got the coordinates there. You tell me and we're on our way. All right, let's get going.
They head deeper into the swamp, and the crocodile sightings continue.
Oh man, look at that. That is a big print. Check that out. Look at that. That's bigger than my hand. You can see the claws and everything.
Monster Quest is in Florida hunting for monstrous killer crocodiles that seem to be targeting human prey. The Timucua Indians living here in the 1500s told stories of giant crocodiles that it took a dozen men to kill. In 1925, a land surveyor working near Biscayne Bay Lagoon was said to have shot a 14-foot crocodile only to be killed when he tried to pose for a photo. The beast, it turned out, had only been stunned by the shot. The crocodile population declined through the 20th century as they were hunted to the brink of extinction.
When I started working with crocodiles back in the late 70s, early 80s, there was no more than 200 to 300 in the whole U.S., period.
By 1975, crocodiles were listed as endangered and given protected status. Today, the croc population in Florida has made a swift comeback.
Now we figure there's historic numbers, probably 2,000, and that was what was at the beginning of the 20th century, was about that. So there's the same amount with a hell of a lot less territory, or habitat, I guess you could say.
Witnesses here claim to be seeing crocodiles much larger than the 13-footer wildlife officials say exist. The expedition team is searching for an explanation. They're hoping to find out if the American crocodile is growing larger, or if a species of the super croc, long thought extinct, is making a comeback.
There were larger crocs in the past, without a doubt, by almost a factor of 2.
Paleontologist Paul Sereno discovered one of the most complete fossils of the Sarcosuchus imperator, or the super croc, the ultimate apex predator of its time.
You know, super croc is one of the most common fossils we find in this dinosaur bed in the middle of the Sahara. We have dozens of specimens of it, from juvenile sizes, which are as big as the largest modern crocs today, to the behemoth you see behind me. What it did in its life, I think, at this size, was eat dinosaurs. You got a bunch of giant conical teeth. They're very short, extremely strong and stubby. And they're sort of overhanging the snout. And when you close these jaws, they don't touch each other, they just grab. And I think that's what super croc was doing. It was grabbing, and not squirming fish. It wouldn't have been that fast. It was grabbing dinosaurs.
The super croc was discovered in Africa in the 1940s. The bones were more than 100 million years old and suggested a mammoth monster.
Well, the weight of an adult male super croc, almost incomprehensible, something like 8 tons.
Experts estimate that this megabeast grew to 40 feet long, the size of a city bus.
This big guy, which is our biggest skull, probably a male, had no body behind it. And so what we had to do was look to modern crocs, and it's a straight line relationship. Now what we had to do was go out and measure crocodiles that looked a little bit more like this in ever existed.
These monsters likely roamed the Earth some 110 million years ago. The supercroc went extinct at the end of the Cretaceous period, 65 million years ago. When the dinosaur prey of the supercroc died out, so did the massive predator supercroc, leaving behind the crocodiles that we know today.
Modern crocs are incredible predators. No animal on the history of land has been able to walk around efficiently on land. Some even gallop today and then go swimming into the water like a fish. They are formidable predators. They've never given up the dominant role in the waterways for 200 million years.
The world's crocodile population is limited to the Americas, Africa, Australia, and Asia. All 4 continents report an emergence of animals growing far beyond their previous size. India's Bhitarkanika National Park in the state of Orissa is home to the saltwater crocodile. The locals tell of a legendary beast known as Kalia, or the Black One.
Kalia was said to be 23 feet long and the largest crocodile that anyone had seen in these parts.
Dr. Romulus Whitaker is a herpetologist who has studied and measured crocodiles all over the globe. He will be heading the Monster Quest science team, which has come to India to investigate reports of the largest killer croc in modern times.
He was a famous crocodile.
The Black One's reign of terror came to an end in 1929 when a local boat captain shot and killed the monster. The skull was taken to the palace of the Raja of Kanaka and locked away. It has remained behind closed doors for 80 years, until now.
When they opened Kali up, they actually found the ornaments of a large number of women, for example. Bracelets and anklets and stuff like that.
The team has been given permission to measure the skull as part of their investigation. These measurements could be the key to determining whether this was a true monster-sized crocodile or a living relic.
Now this is the monster crocodile of Bhitarkanika. Wow. The skull of Kalia is about 30 inches long and weighs about 70 pounds. It's massive.
Whitaker takes detailed measurements of the skull, which he will later analyze to determine Kalia's true size. The sight of the massive skull makes him more eager than ever to see what lurks in the local waters.
Saltwater crocodiles are found all the way from India to Australia, and no matter where I've traveled or the kind of research I've delved into, nowhere has a real authenticated case of anything over 20 feet long been recorded.
Bhitarkanika is one of the best places where you can see many crocodiles, many saltwater crocodiles. There are some huge ones like 20, 23 feet long.
Dr. Pratyush Mohipatra is a local reptile biologist. He will guide the search. Pratyush says local villagers have recently told terrifying accounts of a massive creature called Masasur, or demon.
I know of 2 young girls who went to the river for washing. My saucer attacked them and grabbed one of the girls. The sister ran for help, but when she returned with her family, the other girl was gone. She was never found and is presumed to be dead.
Crocodile grow up to certain age. Maybe we don't know how big they grow really. So in Indian condition, maybe 23 feet or a little more than that, maybe less than 25 feet or something like that they grow.
The science team will travel the hundreds of miles of rivers and waterways which crisscross this massive 250 square mile preserve. They will conduct an exhaustive search to find a modern supercroc.
We are in Dangmal. We're in Dangma.
They'll be based out of the small village of Dangma on the edge of the preserve. The park's warden assigns a ranger and a boat crew to guide the team in the backcountry. It doesn't take long for them to encounter their first crocodiles.
That is a croc. Yeah, that's the size of an adult female.
Yeah.
And chances are she has a nest site inside here somewhere.
Oh.
That's a good sign to see one so quick, but let's see if we can see the monster croc. I mean, that's what we're after. There's a big crocodile on the left.
Yeah.
Center, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty obvious. He's right on the top. Looks pretty good. 10, 12 feet maybe. You can see a nice slide of him, but you can see a bigger slide just beyond him. That's a big crocodile. See, look at the size of this one. This is a huge one went in. See that? This is monstrous, man.
The park rangers say they recognize the track of the larger crocodile.
That is a monstrous track, man. You know? That would make that crocodile look like a dwarf.
Monster questers in India searching for oversized killer crocodiles. Wildlife experts say the largest known crocs max out at 20 feet, but eyewitnesses in India say they are growing to much larger sizes.
I was here by the water in the evening just 3 days ago.
This ferryboat captain spends hours daily on the waterways of Bhitarkanika National Park. He has seen hundreds of crocodiles, but there is one he will never forget.
It was 2 years ago. I saw a big deer, trying to swim across the river. Then my sassur came. I saw my sassur swimming just out there. He was very big and very scary. My sassur opened his mouth and the deer was gone.
It's early morning when the science team returns to the boat. Today they'll continue their search for what the local villagers call the Big Demon. They will take measurements to determine if these crocs are growing to monstrous sizes. The morning sun